Hello, I'm Richard Ridge. Samuel L. Jackson and Angela Bassett are coming to Broadway in Katori Hall's new play about Dr. Martin Luther King called The Mountaintop. The play takes place on the eve of Dr. King's assassination. It'll open October 13th at the Bernard B. Jacobs Theater under the direction of Kenny Leon. We caught up with all of them here at the Brooklyn High School for the Arts, where they talked to a group of theater students about the significance of the play and what it takes to be a working artist.
Well, the play takes place on April 3rd, 1968. It's after Dr. King gives his very famous speech, "I've been to the mountaintop," and he returns to the Lorraine Motel very tired, coughing, overwrought, dealing with a little cold, and he orders room service. He orders a cup of coffee because he's actually working on a new speech called "Why America is Going to Hell," and he has to work throughout the night. And so when he orders this cup of coffee, a young maid named Kamei brings it up for him, and they have a very interesting conversation throughout the night about politics, about past, about regrets, about life in general, and also about mortality and the future even. And so this is a play that really humanizes Dr. King. He's definitely not portrayed as a saint. He's portrayed as a very down-to-earth being who was very connected with the people and, you know, took his mask off behind closed doors. And so we kind of get a very insider's perspective of Dr. King in this play. Oh, it's hard to talk about it sometimes because people expect a very historical play and kind of, you know, upright and kind of have dusty, you know, and you blow on and the dust just kind of blow off of it. But it's like, no, it's really alive, it's fantastical, it's magical even. And so I think audiences will be very surprised that the play kind of takes so many different turns along its journey.
Well, I love the most that it's not the public Dr. King. It's not that guy that we see in interviews. It's not the guy that we see giving speeches. It's a person who's come in from giving one of the greatest speeches that he ever did in his life, and he is tired, sort of sick, kind of slumped, and has a reflective moment, a time to reflect on who he is and where he is at this particular moment in life, and how that has affected him, the pressures of all that, and how it affects his family and all the people around him. So it's a really good take on humanizing an icon.
We are the last generation of those who've known of him intimately and felt the effect of his work. Sometimes, you know, in today's culture, kids are not as aware. You know, there's so many more freedoms. You can go so many more places and dare to dream and do whatever you want. You know, we're so far removed from going to the back of the bus or going on the bus or stepping off the sidewalk or whatever it is the history of this country has been. So there's a saying that if you don't remember the history, then you're subject to repeat it. I just love that Kamei's voice and how she's fragile and she's unapologetic and she's vulnerable and and she's fallible, she's flawed, and yet she's trying to be better. She's trying to be better. So I love that, and she gets to do that in the presence of this man that everyone thinks is this man that is so beloved and so well known and so in the public eye and so she would think above her and her situation, but actually there's a wonderful meeting place and commonality, and she gets to teach him a little bit and he gets to teach her, you know, about the world and about love.
Oh, what attracted me to the play was I read the play. I had to read it. Initially, I was like, I don't know if I want to do something about Dr. King. It's going to be a history play. It's going to be boring. And I read it, and it was extremely funny. It was really inspirational, and it was emotional. And it spoke to me today in 2012. It spoke to me in a real personal way, because in the way we're living in our country now, when politicians don't talk to each other, when it seems like nothing is being done, and when you watch poor people get poor and rich people get richer, this play said something about how we should live with each other. And it was not in a didactic or preachy way. It was in an inspirational, beautiful storytelling with a lot of magic. It's like having Dr. King, if he were able to come back to life, to speak to us today. You know, how great that would be. I want this play to have meaning for every person sitting in the audience. And I think they will. I think every audience will laugh. I think they will cry. They will think. But I think ultimately when they walk out of that door, they will be inspired to be better parents, to be better friends, to be better family members. It's a feel-good play. So it's where art really does crosses our everyday lives, and it's very, very special.